Western powers are recalibrating their stance toward Ukraine as military aid diminishes significantly. Concurrently, Russian forces intensify their offensive near Pokrovsk, threatening encirclement. Meanwhile, Israel grapples with substantial infrastructure damage from Iranian strikes, revealing vulnerabilities in its defense system. New intelligence suggests Iran's Fordo nuclear facility sustained critical damage to its underground centrifuge, though undisclosed access tunnels might permit uranium extraction. The IAEA expressed mounting alarm over Tehran's non-cooperation, exposing institutional miscalculations about Iranian resolve. There is also speculation that Russia and other technical observers believe Iran has multiple access tunnels to bypass destroyed entry points. These hidden routes may allow safe passage into damaged bunkers, contradicting U.S. government narratives based on surface-level visual of trucks outside Fordo. Meanwhile, Rafael Grossi and the IAEA expressed growing concern over Iran's refusal to grant inspectors renewed access, highlighting a self-inflicted credibility crisis within the agency. Iran's precision strikes strategically targeted Israel's economic lifelines, disabling Ben Gurion Airport, seaports, and industrial zones. Former U.S. intelligence analyst Larry Johnson warned extended attack could have triggered food shortage and economic paralysis in Israel through import disruption. Shifting focus to Israel, recent intelligence from former U.S. analyst Larry Johnson reveals extensive damage caused by Iranian missile strikes. Key infrastructures like Ben Gurion Airport and major ports were crippled, disrupting trade and travel, while civilian casualties were minimal. Contrary to initial fears, the economic toll was severe. Analysts warned that prolonged conflict could trigger a financial collapse in Israel due to its reliance on imports for essential goods. The NATO summit yielded no substantive aid for Ukraine, with Germany's media declaring it crushingly disappointing. EU sanctions packages stall amid Hungarian and Slovak opposition, while Viktor Orban condemns Ukrainian EU membership as importing war into Europe. The U.S. military planning of the Fordo strike reportedly dates back to 2009, debunking earlier reports suggesting last-minute improvisation. This long-term strategy involved complex logistics, including historical references to archaeological techniques used in Troy. Meanwhile, geopolitical alliances are evolving. The Eurasian Economic Union met in Minsk, where Putin emphasized alternative financial systems amid Western sanctions, predicting potential global monetary fragmentation. War-weary Ukrainians show 72% support for ceasefire in recent polls. Yet Zelensky's administration rejects negotiations. The economy teeters near hyperinflation, 15% annually, sustained only by dwindling Western subsidies. Mobilization avoid youth cohorts likely to protest, revealing leadership society fissure. Turning to Ukraine, the NATO summit failed to deliver promised aid or strong anti-Russia rhetoric, disappointing Kyiv. The EU also stalled on its 18th round of sanctions targeting Russian oil export, with Hungary and Slovakia opposing stricter measure. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban warned that accepting Ukraine to the EU could import instability and even war into the bloc, echoing concerns raised by Russian officials. Istanbul peace talks have stalled as Russia demands binding neutrality guarantees and reject EU's integration. U.S. envoy Woodruff's credibility evaporated after the Iran strike, with Moscow now refusing American mediation. Historical parallels to failed North Korea denuclearization deals underscore deepening distrust. Recent polls suggest Ukrainian public support for continued war efforts is declining, with 72% favoring a ceasefire along current lines. However, Zelensky and his inner circle remain committed to fighting, backed by nationalist groups and security forces. Internal dissent is suppressed and elections remain indefinitely postponed, raising questions about democratic accountability. Russian forces tighten nooses around Kupiansk and Chasiv while advancing on Pokrovsk from three axes. Ukrainian logistics disintegrated under systematic strike, with Washington Post confirming slow-motion economic collapse. Elite nationalist brigades prolong fighting despite territorial hemorrhage and demoralized troops. On the battlefield, Russia continues to gain ground, encircling Pokrovsk and tightening control around key supply routes. Cities like Kupiansk and Chasiv face imminent capture, further straining Ukrainian defenses. With Western aid dwindling and diplomatic channels stalling, Kyiv faces mounting pressure. The war of attrition favors Moscow, while internal divisions and economic collapse threaten Ukraine's long-term resilience. That's it for me for today. Hit subscribe now and smash that notification bell to be the first to know when major events unfold. Essential viewing is just one click away. More from me soon. Have a nice day.